From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora.
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora.
The Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
We are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earned our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you preparing? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the Ambazonia Ethics Code and the Constitution?
All arms of government, do you have an ethics agency? Departments of DSS, HSS, Communications and IT, Education, DHACM, DFA and DEINR. Do you have ethics agency to serve as a moral compass for your departments?
Ambazonians, you need to know your rights by reading the Ethics Code and the Constitution.
Shame unethical behavior and reward good behavior in your communities. Hold leaders accountable. Be the watchdog of your communities and governments. See something, say something.
The church, you are the main research center of moral principles with the responsibility of moralizing the society. How effective are you outside the church building?
Maya Angelou said, when you know better, then you do better. Ambazonians, watch Ethics for an emerging Ambazonia every Friday at 4 p.m. Amba time.
Exclusively on ABC Amba TV. Stay tuned.
Okay. We are not ashamed of the God. champions and see the area. Everybody else in the area. And see the area. Let's go there. All the champions and see the area. Everybody else in the area. And see the area. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. Champions say hallelujah. 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 Over and over again we see the touch of your greatness, Lord, in us. Whoa. Come join me, sing now. Let's celebrate together. Come join me, praise now. Let's jubilate together. All the champions and see the area. Everybody else in the area. And see the area. Let's go there. All the champions and see the area. Everybody else in the area. And see the area. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. We are champions. Champions say hallelujah. 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 You've always been a winner. You are the best. You one of a kind of challenges can contest. The top is made for you. Trust me, nothing less. I know that you've noticed. Dance to the beat. On this beat you can do anything. In the process just get anything. Then you, yeah. I'm feeling so high on this beat, but I know it goes. Let's go!
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real warhorse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian / African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tar Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and People of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE. Health is wealth, health education and awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya. Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba. Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando. Church and Politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando. The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey. Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando. Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima. Ethics for an Emerging Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Ngwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Amazonians. You are welcome again, friends and sympathizers, solidarity members, friends, wherever you are, all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, in Africa, in Europe, in the Antarctics, in the Americas, in Australia. A wonderful welcome on this Friday evening. We thank God for another week that we've been through. We just worship Him. We thank Him for giving us the opportunity that we're able to be again in your presence. And today, the Ethics Committee comes knocking at this very hour. We just really want to apologize for almost an hour start late. We just beg your indulgence. Please do not go away. Just stay put. Friday is a very busy evening at ABC, especially for those on ground one, home front, and down below the Sahara. So down below the equator, the Sahara, wherever you are, we know that it's a long evening. And for those who are still at work, the globe, we wish you a pleasant evening. Today, the Ethics Commission is here again with another wonderful program, Ethics for an Emerging Nation, with a wonderful title, a wonderful agenda for today, entitlement mentality. Entitlement mentality. And before that, we just want to salute, 21 gun salute to our valiant men, boys and girls, our AROFs, those that have already drafted and are drafting with their lives on home front, doing what they were called to do. Fellow fighters, fellow restoration recognition forces, we give you our 21 gun salute from the presidency of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, from the Judicial Council, from the Interim House of Reps, from the Ethics Commission, who is already upholding you for the ethical, patriotic steps that you have already taken, putting your life at the limelight, and to see that homeland is free, doing justice that should be done. We thank you. We will forever remember you, and we honor all those that have gone before, those of us that are standing here for this due cause. We also recognize those that are suffering in the La Republique dungeons. We equally sympathize and recognize those that are languishing in refugee camps scattered all over the world, those that are passing through terrible thick forests and wherever they are, those sleeping in the bushes, those whose homes have been burned down, those who have been cheated from their moral human standards and rendered to nothingness. We have you in mind. We recognize you, and for that purpose, that is why the interim government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia is standing very tall to celebrate, to always come with ethical issues, so that at the end of the day, we will not say we did not prepare before we got there. When there are things that we are already doing here that we will not be lacking behind by the time we get home to Amazonia. Again, I will really want to greet the panel that is with us today. I'm so always honored to have our barristers sitting right here and waiting, just just always ready to answer this patriotic call endlessly, tirelessly. Really, barrister, I don't know how any one of us can ever appreciate you. In your tight schedules, you still make out time, standing up tall for Amazonia, giving your stamina and everything that you have. Nobody will ever appreciate you. Only God Almighty is really seeing the work that you are doing to see that the next generation of Amazonia will not stress, will not suffer, will not go through the torture that some of us went through. And most especially, I don't know how to say it, but the two of you barristers, we know the history. Only God, words can never explain them. It's not by choice, but it is by force where you are. But God is with you and He will continue to strengthen you. Fellow Amazonians, as you can see with me, friends and sympathizers and solidarity members, you can see from your left to your right as you are watching, we have Barrister. So always with us, we have Barrister Bessa, always with us. I so much appreciate this, our daddies. Personally, I'm always honored to have them, and for Ethics Commission to give me this opportunity to have them sitting here. I so much say a big thank you. Barrister, I know you are on your toes. Yes, fellow Amazonians, he's just looking at the door to step out. This is the sacrifices we make for Amazonia. So therefore, today, Amazonia is going to be talking on this topic, entitlement mentality. But first of all, I will let you greet the audience and then we jump to the agenda proper. You are welcome again, barristers. Barrister, so go
Thank you,
ahead.
Mara. Thank you, Mara, for inviting us once more. I take this opportunity to greet our vibrant restoration forces, to greet our population in the home front that is bearing the brunt, and to say we're all in this together and we shall arrive where together. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you very much for that wonderful input there. Thank you. Barrister Mbelesa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, my Rachel, for having us once more. Again, we're here. We have only a dual purpose. Firstly, we think, look at our age, we're old. We want to share experiences of yesteryears, the good old days, with the hope of building a better future. We share our personal experiences, one, and then share the legal aspect of what may bind us. But where we share this in common, we don't have the power to force anybody to accept it. You are at liberty to accept what we say or reject it. But you are not at liberty to insult us. Take it if you want, leave it if you don't, and let the lessons sink where they need to sink. Thank you once more. We hope to share our experiences. We hope by the end of this session, some people, someone will have benefited something because knowledge without being shared is knowledge wasted. Thank you once more. We hope our followers will learn something. We hope they would get something to add for the future of Amazonia.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Barrister. It is really true. Knowledge not shared is knowledge wasted. Oh, what an expression. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just get into our work to be done today. Yes, you see, this year the Ethics Commission for an Emerging Amazonia is spotlighting on ethical issues plaguing Amazonia at home and abroad. This is what the Ethics Commission has decided to do this year, 2024. The more Amazonians engage in discussions on ethical issues now, the better our chances for a short transition period, a post recognition period in Amazonia. Ethical issues and moral issues that when we start addressing them today and everyone start learning, as our barrister Ambesha just said, it is knowledge that is going to be shared and carried on and on and on, building the standard for Amazonians that what people want to have in their own homeland. It is therefore said here that applied knowledge is power. Therefore, there is no genuine liberty without morality. You cannot say you are genuinely liberated, you are genuinely free when without some morals. You have to have some moral codes guiding you, either individual codes, societal codes, governmental codes, and all those things that will not let you fall on the wayside. At the same time, by so doing, when we equip ourselves timely with this necessary knowledge, there will be there will be a secured, a solid guarantee, and a stable, a prosperous nation. If all these morals that we are learning today and people are keeping them in the records, all these programs are going to be archives that we will revisit them, such that the nation that we are rebuilding, that we are building, people will remember. We will not stand on a sinking sand. We will not say what will be this, what will be that. And I'm so pleased because our legal minds are here all the time to share the law, the justice, the equity, all these things, bringing them together such that nobody will say, I did not hear. When did they tell us this? So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Amazonians, please get in, call someone, share this link, call your neighbor that it has started. Our moral, let me say, moral classes are here, that the Amazonian legacy is here with entitlement mentality. Yes, as usual in this program, we go two steps or one step back to let us know, a recap what was done in the previous program. And before this, Barrister Mbesha is going to give us a recap of the program that they had, so that um, we should there should be a continuity with what we are about to do today. So, Barrister Mbesha, the floor is yours to give us a recap of what was done, because you were there last week.
Well, our last session was on civic responsibility. You
Yes.
see, we have said that ethics is the foundation of society. Civic responsibility is the responsibility attached to every individual member of the society, big or small. Some civic responsibility is written, some is not written, but all are for the benefit of the community. You owe responsibility towards your neighbor first, then to the society at large, and vice versa. We discussed, for example, that see, it is not about the big or the small person, it is about everybody. If, for example, there were public toilets out there, the public toilets are meant for everyone who is using the road, who is in the public. If you go there to use the toilet, you owe the responsibility to flush it. When you're in the toilet, the door is locked. Nobody is coming in there to see where you're flushing or you're peeing on the pot. You owe that responsibility to do it rightly. Whether you're a government minister, you're a common man in the street, or whoever, you owe that civic responsibility. There comes a time, if you don't do those things, you can be punished. But most of the time, it is left for you to enforce them by your own upbringing. You learn them from childhood. You learn them as you grow. And so it applies to the common man as it applies to the big man. What will it pay a big man, a contractor, for example, who is given the contract to construct a water point in a town, in a village, and he does it badly? Of course, he's going to drink that water. When there's no water, he too will suffer. So, what is the civic responsibility? What is the advantage of you not doing that? I'm talking about a contractor. That's a rich man. He's making money. But be sure you do the right thing for your own good and for the good of your neighbors. What is good for you, the common guy sitting down the street there? You go to the market and buy a cocky beans or cocky corn with those plantain leaves that you use to dine it. You eat it. Instead of taking the pains to go and throw it in the proper trash place, you throw on the road. Well, children playing with slide and fall on that thing. A child may break his or her leg. Whereas, what does it cost you, for example, to tie those leaves and throw them in the appropriate place? And so on and so forth. So we're there with civic responsibility. What you owe the community in return for what the community gives you. The community is us all. Sometimes, most often in Amazonia, the villages contribute money, call it community development, to dig their road, to build their water, to dig this public toilets, even to build this school. And what do you, as the user, what do you give in return? They are not asking you to pay. If they ask you to pay, you owe the responsibility to keep that thing in good form so that the next generation after you will use it. And so that's what we deal with civic responsibility, the responsibility of the individual civically towards the community, because the community provides common services for all of us. And you, the individual, big or small, has to use it in a rightful way so that for your generation and the generations to come, they benefit from the same thing. Yes, they will come and improve of it. If there was a standing pipe there for you to fetch water, there's only one in the whole village. Instead of breaking it down because you want to carry water alone, if you just fetch your water, next time the villager will improve and put two other points. So if you get there where there's only one water point, children are doing this, just down the line, make sure you fetch your own bucket of water and go away. Don't fight and break down the standing tap because it saves everybody. Those are lessons that that you teach your children at home. And when they grow up with that extra responsibility in them, they make the future community good, better, livable. Thank you. That's what we dealt with last time.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you for this wonderful recap and for reminding us. It really takes us directly into the topic we are having today, entitlement mentality. Yes, I would just say that um, we are going to be talking of entitlement mentality point of view from the good governance. For example, if the government itself does not provide the trash can, you will see the 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 community or the people themselves they will not see where to go and put. So it's a two-way thing, this civil responsibility. So fellow Amazonians, today you will be hearing how we are blending these two, civil responsibility with this entitlement mentality. As Barrister Mbesha already said, he just quoted it because I have it here when JF Kennedy said, do not ask what your nation can do for you. You ask what you can do for your nation. So these are some of the things that we will be looking at them in reference to or in connection with the topic entitlement mentality. And we just glide into it directly where Barrister Fru will be giving us the definition of entitlement mentality from the point of view of governance. Barrister Fru, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Marisha. This word entitlement mentality seems to me very broad, but I will try
Yeah, it's true.
bring to bear what I know. But Pastor Mbesa has laid a very good foundation for the takeoff of this topic today. We
Yes,
said
sir.
that civic responsibility, like we said last time, it entails respecting the law of the land and also behaving civilly in the land. The flip side of that is you need good governance also as an entitlement. Good governance in the provision of public utilities like good roads, like good water system, like electricity supply, like making life generally acceptable and livable for the people you govern. That is the responsibility of the state to provide public utilities, and that is it's the positive mentality that governance has to take care of. Governance is not just that you have been elected and you sit there and you play big and you do nothing and you expect the common man on the street to be civil, to respect the laws, and also to pay his taxes, and so on and so forth. And when you take those taxes, you do not follow through with what the public expects from you. The public expects from their government the provision of public utilities. Number one, the provision of schools to educate the populace, the provision of hospitals to treat the people, the provision of water supply, electricity, you can name it, the roads. When you build a public highway, you should also know that the person who is on foot is also entitled to use part of what you have built. So when you build a highway, you also build a walkway for those who cannot afford to be on that highway. You provide the basic necessity for everybody, irrespective of class, irrespective of their status in society. That is good governance. You ensure that you render account of the money or whatever taxes that you collect from the people. Every year, the government is supposed to give an account of itself and also to tell the people, this is what we have provided. This is the entitlement that you are entitled to have. You are entitled to have water. You are entitled to have good, clean air. You are entitled to have lighting of the street, lighting of your house. You are entitled to have a walkway. You are entitled to be able to go to farm and bring your crops, farm to market roads. All those things are things that are entitled positive entitlements that every government is called upon to provide to its citizens. I will not enter negative entitlement because that is also another flip side of the issue. But I am
Yeah,
also I'm limiting
we are going
myself.
to come to it.
Yes,
We will
I'm
come
limiting
to
myself. I'm limiting myself to what it would mean in governance. The Ambazonan future Ambazonan government should be up to date, should be ready to govern the people as the people participate in governance at their own level. What do I mean by that? If I pay my taxes, if I respect the laws, if I respect what Barrister Mbesa has just said, don't litter carelessly, don't do this, don't do that, nobody's watching you. I expect that the government that is governing me would provide the basic necessities for me to survive. That is the way I see this entitlement issue. I don't know why they add mentality to it. The mentality means that this is what the people expect. It's not I don't know whether you can call that mentality, but people expect that the government is going to do this for them. Don't you
yes,
expect that
barrister.
don't you
The
expect that when
barrister, yes, yeah,
child is
it is the
born,
mentality.
yes, when
It
the
is the
child is born,
mentality.
okay,
Yeah,
when the child is born,
it is
that
the,
child,
because when people pay their taxes, they are bound to expect good roads, good schools,
that's right,
electricity supply, clean, yeah,
and also expect to send their children to school. And
yes,
also suspect that when a child or you yourself you are sick, you should be able to go to the hospital and be treated.
yeah.
The government policy should be able to provide public health facilities for everybody on the land. That is what I understand by entitlement, as opposed to what the populace offers in civic responsibility. That's paying taxes, respecting the laws, and doing what you're supposed to do to keep the environment clean, to make sure that everybody participates in living, total living, for the low class right up to the high class. And I don't want to call this thing low class I think that Ambazonia would strive to have everybody
Grassroots.
right
Grassroots.
through, right to the middle class by bringing in good governance that will lift up people from where they are to a particular level.
Thank you, Barrister. Yes, those of us in Europe, there is a system that we have. People may want to criticize it that, oh, it is a kind of social system that encourages laziness, where people sit at home, they don't like to go to work. But it is not as it sounds. It's a kind of system that covers up gaps where it is very difficult to distinguish between the high class, let me just put it this way, and the low class. That's the grassroots, the common man, and you see there is a video that has been going on our fora where in Netherlands you saw the prime minister and one African sister from Sierra Leone. They were all working on the same way to work. It is also common with us here in Osha, for example. You can see your prime minister in the trains, you see them in the buses, you see the ministers, you see the parliamentarians, and you can ask your questions to any of them wherever you see them. So it is just making life in such a way that it will not be so handwriting written on the wall that you already know that, oh, this is just for these people. At least that
Marriage,
entitlement should be there. Yeah.
let me add, working. Working is a civil responsibility. Every Ambazonian should be prepared to work.
Right.
That is
Right.
that is that is also before you expect entitlement, you should also be able to you should be ready to work and participate in nation building. Go go and get a training in a particular job that you think you can do to empower yourself and empower society. Everybody
I think,
must work.
yeah.
Everybody must go to work.
And in a society that the government will make provision for people leaving primary school, those who may not be interested to go to further education to go must go to secondary school. There must be this. There will be this level of. It will be available for somebody to say, I can become a low level carpenter. I can become a low level engineer. I can be a high one by going to the university. So these are some of the things that Ambazonia is already aware of. Fellow viewers, fellow Ambazonia, this is the kind of entitlement that we should start building it in our minds, with our body and soul and spirit. And how do we do it? We can only start, for example, by doing what we are doing now that we are in interim, by paying, supporting and contributing your own draft, supporting and doing your own aid, supporting and doing, taking your civil responsibility. Your entitlement mentality should start now by you answering to the calls that the interim government is calling you to do the things you are supposed to do, like an Ambazonia. Anybody who is standing by the wayside thinking they should wait until something must happen before they start moving, then I don't know. It's That's not it. So we are already in the system where we are entitled to responding to, like, our annual draft, our AID, our ABC, having your TV to function, and all those things. So these are some of the things that I can personally like add to say, um, before you start hoping for something, you have to work towards it. And I believe this is the time where we are already working towards it. Thank you, Barrister. And at this point, Barrister, Barrister Besha, maybe I know you will surely have something to add. And if not, we will be ushering you to continue with the entitlement mentality, looking at the positive entitlement mentality with some examples. Barrister Mbesa, you are welcome.
Uh, Again, thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me start from where President Sol said something. It's not actually a mentality. Entitlement is not a mentality. When we mention the word mentality, it gives the
That's right.
idea that it's something imaginary. And
Yes.
this is where I'm heading to. You see, I think most civilized countries in the world today, they don't honor and admire the United States. They envy the United States. But where did the United States come from? For those of us who are familiar with the United States history, if you ever heard of something they call the Boston Tea Party, what was the slogan there? No taxation without representation.
Correct.
No taxation without representation. Were those people asking to just go and sit in England in the British Parliament? No. Representation meant something. You pay your taxes,
I don't read that thing.
people sit there to represent you and come back and give an account to you what they have done with your money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what representation means.
Yes.
And the future ambassador must be no taxation without
Taxation
representation.
without representation. Right. What
Those
is
who
in
will
the
go
parliament?
to the Ambazonian future parliament, House of Assembly, must represent the people and give account of their work to the people. We don't just talk about roads. You want a road, you want a school. That is all true. But if the road is not 10 kilometers long, there must be an explanation. Why you have 10 kilometers, the other guy has 50, the other guy has 100. If there's only one school in your village, your MP should tell you why you have only one school, the other village has five. There must be justification for it. Maybe your village is not 10,000, 5,000 people. The other village is 50,000. There must be a reason. And for that to happen publicly and rightfully, there must be a basis. There must be a debate, a public debate. How many people in Cameroon since 1961 can ever justify why there's a budget for A or B or C here or there and nowhere else? Yesterday or so, I was watching some program in Cameroon and I saw the president by decree extending, no, expanding the budget for the Far North, doubling it. The budget is supposed to go through parliament. The president just sits in his office and said, okay, the Far North investment budget, which was voted to be $10 billion, 10 billion francs, is now 30 billion. Why? No explanation.
How?
So entitlement goes with planning. There's something they call entitlement. For example, as a government, you employ people. When you are employed, there's a salary fixed for the job you want to do. Once you take up that job, you're entitled to that pay. That's an entitlement. If it comes with other functional privileges, those are your entitlements. And so you don't take people for a job, and you don't pay them. I think I was just in Yaoundé, in Douala, in Yaoundé. Even you this morning, there's a crowd there in the street. What are they looking for? They claim to be workers of Chantal Navia, Santier Navarre,
Chantier Naval.
who say they have not been paid for years. Have they been working? We don't know. Who recruited them? To the best of my knowledge, this is my personal knowledge, Chantier Navarre has since died. Since Fonjenda was taken to jail, the thing died. So what's the need maintaining a pool of 10,000 people there, calling them workers, who want to claim an entitlement to a salary for a job they never did? They just came and sat there, every day they came and sat there, drank beer, smoked, and went back home and expected a pay. No, that's not how it is. So our future government will not be what is in Yaoundé. If you have to go to parliament, you take part in the debates. Development has to be through the parliament. Want to construct the ring road, it should be debated there in parliament. And a vote adopted. If the vote can only take 50 kilometers this year, it is well written down. If it is not done, it must be explained. That's an entitlement of that area. They know that so much money was voted for their road. Why was it not constructed? There must be an explanation. Not the issue of you don't have water. You don't even know what's the budget for water. You go and demonstrate to the prefect or to the sous-prefect, who himself does not have water in his house. You don't have electricity. You go and demonstrate to the prefect, the sous-prefect, who himself does not have electricity. What was the budget for electricity? Nobody knows. So you are entitled to some amenities by virtue of the fact that you pay taxes. For that also to happen, the government must be transparent. It must tell you what you are paying. Like most of our people who go to demonstrate now, if you ask my mother, your mother in the village, you are demonstrating from this, how much have you paid for taxes? They don't even know anything. They have paid nothing. They all say they're cocoyams in the market. And if you instead of paying the tax in the market, they give bribe to the messenger who was collecting the market too. So how do you expect people to expect development when they are not contributing their own share for the development? In West Cameroon days, what they call poll tax, every adult of 21 years old was paying, call it 1,000 a pound. Was calculated. They knew how many people were living in Bali, how many people were living in Banso, how many people were living in Bafut, and so on and so forth. And they paid this money. It went to the treasury. That is part of the reason why, to the best of my knowledge, the West Cameroon government until 1972 never took any well-known bank. They devoted on what they contributed by themselves. And so entitlement goes with that. But as we go down the road, we're going to see how this topic is important because entitlement has been abused because of the dark clouds of government, of the non-transparent government that we have. The whole idea of entitlement is abused. Who can explain, for example, these are common topics that are on the public view now in Cameroon. Who can explain, for example, why they will put a minister of the economy? They will create a whole chapter, a budget hit in the economy, where they will take money, billions, and give to a person of a particular region to do what he likes. He opens his radio, he opens what he likes. He becomes anything that he likes simply because his own guy is the minister of the economy. Simply because he belongs to a certain clan, to a certain group of people. He thinks that he's entitled to that. That's abuse of entitlement. That's what I will come to it by political entitlement, which has led to what is total abuse of what we know. Again, as I said, how can they explain tripling the investment budget for the far north by decree? Whereas they are able to dig, is it even 50 kilometers of road from Metazam to Santa for decades? How can they explain that? How can they explain that if you watch everything? The only thing they talk about development in Cameroon is the Tico, is the Douala Yaoundé highway. The Douala Yaoundé highway. As if Cameroon is Douala Yaoundé. So the people in Gandre are not entitled to highway. The people in Beto are not entitled to highway. So that is abuse of entitlement. And so again, what we're dealing at the level of government, and this IG is an IG that is formulated on the basis of a government. A future government of Ambazonia, when we get back home, would be very strict on entitlement. You pay your taxes, you're entitled to the development. If you don't have the development, you're entitled to an explanation. If that explanation is not forthcoming, the guy you sent to go and represent you people in parliament in Boya will be thrown out. That's why our system was the best. It was a parliamentary rule. If you are not a member of parliament, if you are not elected from your own constituency, you could not be a minister. All ministers were chosen from parliament. Once you lost your parliamentary mandate, you lose your ministerial functions. And that's how people were held accountable. They were made to be accountable to the entitlement, to what they promised. You promised the people something in return for their vote. If you cannot give what you promised, I cannot explain why I'm not giving, we throw you out. That's the type of thing we say having when we get to Boya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Besha. I would just like to seize this opportunity. It just came in between. Let me just ask it. Uh, I would just like you to say something because you made some statements that policy, there will be public debate, budget for investments, and all those things coming from your parliamentarian. And if that project is not carried out, they should be that parliamentarian should be questioned by the citizens. Now we have our interim House of Reps, and these are people who are already sitting in the interim parliament, and there are certain things that are going on. To the best of your knowledge, I would just like you to enlighten or to educate us a little bit um, concerning the expectation or what Amazonians are supposed to be doing, and we have people sitting in the interim house. What are some of the things that you can tell, like our people sitting in the interim house, what they should be doing in their constituency, and what the people should also be expecting from the members of the interim house?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Let me just finish before Professor enters. You see, what we have now called the Interim House of Representatives has a very limited things to do. The whole IG plus you and me here doing this ethics plus all departments are geared towards fighting the war.
Good.
The draft we do, for example, the all effort of the draft, the main effort of the draft is to focus on the struggle. The bulk of it should go for defense. Part of it hopefully goes to refugees. That's the limited function that we do. And so, is that house having this information? Of course. The draft does not go on until the interim house approves and they are part of the draft. Whereas we are limited with what we can say publicly, I'm sure the house knows what we do in terms of defense. The house knows what we do in terms of the refugees and other things that go with it. So the interim house right now is not like a parliament that we'll have in Boya tomorrow to go and dig the wrong road, to go and dig a road to Manfe, to go and build a school here and there. Now, that is a future independent established government of the people, by the people, for the people in Boya. So that's a limited function we can perform. For the period that we are doing, it is called interim house. It is still interim for purposes of prosecuting this war. And so that makes it even different from what we had, something they call the Restoration Council. There was nothing called Interim Restoration Council. But the very appellation that we have interim house of it shows that they are interim. They are meant there for something immediate. They are accountable to us. But who are the people who call us? The people in the interim house, by majority, are you and me abroad. They are not people sitting there from Cambe, from Bafoot, from Womb, to say, okay, we don't have a water point. But a future interim house, a future house in Buya will have all those representations. We'll have those entitlements put there, justified to the people who put them there, why something was done or was not done. I don't know if Basanso has something to add there.
Yes, Rachel, I have been reflecting on this issue of the draft. Is a draft not supposed to be compulsory responsibility of every Southern Cameroonian living abroad? Yes, it is. But because of the limited nature of the type of government that we have and where we are operating, there's no arm of enforcement. Now, our civic responsibility is to draft, and we are entitled to defending our interim government to lead the defending of to liberate the homeland. And the interim house is there to encourage those that are here to meet their civic responsibility from wherever they have been elected from. And that is a very limited function of any House of Assembly. We don't have what you call a budget that is based on raising taxes, doing this to get income for the government, and so on. No. The only source of income that this interim government has is the draft. And if we were living in a homeland and all of us were facing this war, a draft is a compulsory assignment for every citizen. And the entitlement is compulsory on the government to use that money to defend the homeland. And that is what we are doing here. Here we are not many that draft, which is unfortunate. And the little that we draft, the interim government is using it to defend the homeland. And we also expect the interim House of Representatives to encourage those that they represent from where they were elected to that interim house to participate in drafting. Whatever small amount you give will help to liberate the homeland. So what do I understand by this? I have seen, even right here in Maryland where I live, there are so many youths, so many Ambazonian youths. Ambazonians are here in their large number. But go and count, Mara Share. How many of them do draft? That is what we're talking about. You must
Thank
participate.
you,
You
Barrister.
must play your civic responsibility by raising that money to free the homeland. And this interim government is doing its best to free the homeland. That is why every day, every time we reflect on how do we defend the homeland. It was first given to the interim government of the tier of what you call the tiers, tiers of government. That's the county and the LGAs. Now we found loopholes. Now the federal government has entered to complement what the local governments and the counties are doing. That is governance, and that is the entitlement that every Amazonian is expecting the interim government to deliver. That is free the homeland for all of us. The role of the
Thank you.
interim House of Representatives is to tell those people that they represent, please draft, give your own share so that we can liberate the homeland. That is what I was going to add
Thank
to
you.
what the professor said.
Thank you very much, barristers. That is just it. It just popped in that I should just bring it in because we have to come back to reality and have ourselves gingered so that we should then be reminded that we are on the right track. Really, we really appreciate and we thank every Amazonian that is drafting. That is drafting. The federal draft is just over. The county and the LGA drafts are coming on. And another source of our revenue or income that we are having is the AID, the Amazonian Independence Due. This one has a minimum of a monthly draft. It's a kind of monthly draft from $10 to how God has blessed you. It's from these little ones that we take and repair some of the places that we are supposed to be doing. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Amazonians, friends and sympathizers of Amazonians, it is your moral right, your entitlement to really be a builder, be a contributor, be a supporter to your own homeland. Because the day will come where all of us will say thank you to those who stood on the right side of history. Yes, without taking much of our time, barristers, thank you very much. We are continuing after having discussed or listened to the positive entitlement mentality from Barrister Besha. We are equally going to be listening at this point in time of the negative entitlement mentality with examples from Barrister. And so, ladies and gentlemen, sit tight, share the link, continue sharing and inviting friends. Please share on Facebook and on YouTube, and those on Homefront, just invite neighbors to come and listen. That wo mentality, the way some people they get and say, na my brother dey for up plum, so I must eat black plum. Na the time the way we wan hear am. So una call papa and mama dem make dem can hear am. Thank you, Barrister. Go ahead.
To whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
If we expect the government to play its role, we must also play our role as citizens.
Mhm.
Look, there are people who do not work and they expect the government to provide amenities. That's a negative entitlement. You are not entitled to something that you have not contributed. There are those, there are people who sit right here in America and watch us draft every day, every year, and they are there saying, that one I think, that one I think. And then not only that, they say, but what to make people why would I make people that die plenty so? Why would I know to do so and so? You are expecting an entitlement which you have not contributed in. What you are telling us is that we should liberate the country quickly for you, but you are not doing anything for us to liberate that country. Secondly, there are people who don't, for one reason or the other, refuse to go to school, grow up as illiterates in a society. The schools are there, everything is there, the government is trying its best to provide this entitlement, and you, who is supposed to prepare yourself so that you can participate in ensuring and empowering the government, you refuse to go. You refuse to do it. You refuse to go to school. You refuse to become anything. And you expect the government to take care of you when you are ill. Go to the hospital, you expect to be treated? No. On the other hand, there are governments like La Republic of Cameroon. Bessa just gave a very good example. Government that take your taxes and they only give part, entitlement to gain political favors or to gain political strength. For example, I heard what Barrister Mbesa said. I also heard it. Bia is increasing the budget of the Grand North without going through Parliament because he has found out that the Grand North is now preparing to revolt against him. So he has to look for every means to gain political leverage so that it doesn't happen. That is the very negative entitlement. Negative, you cannot provide entitlement for political gains. You provide entitlement to every citizen because every citizen is required to participate to rein in their own civil responsibility by paying their taxes, respecting the laws, and working to hand in hand in glove with government to develop the society. What is happening in Cameroon today? Nobody pays taxes anymore because of the shitty, the terrible political setup, because of what all other societies have been disenfranchised, and the government, you expect that they pay taxes for you, and when some do pay, you take it and you look for the spots that you can get political favors. That is a negative entitlement. You, the minister, you are sitting there, you want to employ or you want to bring amenities, you only think about your own village. Even if your village has never contributed even a dime to that to what you are trying to do. You take the general money and put it in your village because it's your village, and forget that other villages exist. That's negative. You are distributing entitlement to where you are not to places where you are gaining some favor because you come from there. You are tribalistic, and the other villages are ignored. The corruption, for example, there is no way that a government official is entitled to take bribe money from anybody, but they do take. And
We
what is the
can,
consequence of that? Poor delivery of entitlement. You make favors where you have gotten favor. You don't give favor to the general public, to everybody that is entitled to it, to everybody who has been participating, who has been paying taxes, and so on and so forth. There are so many negative entitlements that people, governments, people who are serving in government are dishing out to people who do not deserve it. And those who deserve it, everybody deserves the same entitlement that the government is giving. But you prefer now because you are sitting there and you have taken bribe from this side or from this side, you only tend to look at the side that you have benefited from. That is very negative entitlement. It is in the future Ambazonian government, bribery will be dealt with severely. Zero tolerance for anybody who is corrupt. Zero tolerance for every police officer who is corrupt. You cannot stand on the road and take 500 or 1,000 from road users, and you give nothing back. You put it in your pocket. You are not entitled to it. That's negative entitlement for you, and you must go to jail for it. So our future government, Marasha, you are muted.
yes. I thought
Yes.
you were through.
No, I was
Yeah.
just going to
So
say that there are so many issues of negative entitlement that even if we take the whole day, we will not be able to go through.
that is for sure. That's really what I wanted to say. You just took it out of my mouth because when you say this, I think of the pension policy system where people go to collect their pension. Some people even die in front of the
Without
place.
collecting.
I also think of the amount of the fiscal year budget that is allocated to the people to, let me put it in their language, Northwest region, in reference to population, and you see the amount that is also allocated for the people in
Okay.
southern region. So you begin to see all these kind of maneuvers, political maneuvers, and you ask yourself, where are we? And to me, I see it as something that people who have entitlement to their country, like Amazonia, Southern Cameroon, with international boundaries, this is an opportunity for us to really stand and say, I can no longer stay in this mess. Really, it is so sad that yeah, it is coming across at a speed, at a rate where the frequency is not as we should have really wished it to be. But thank God that there are people who have not relented. We are on track. Thank you very much, Barrister Fru, for that wonderful. I don't know whether Barrister Besha has something. I know you have one negative or two negativities to give
Yeah,
before we
okay. I
go
just
to.
have one that would summarize everything. See, the
Okay.
negative, the negative uh, thing about it is this: at the level of the government, as old as I am, and I worked in Cameroon for a very long time, even in the public service, they have nothing in Cameroon called state workers. All Cameroon people who take money from the treasury are called government workers.
Mm-hmm.
government. Who is the government of Cameroon? The CPDM. So they take themselves as members of the CPDM. They are not serving the state.
Mm-hmm.
They are serving the government and the party.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why, that explains why the negative thing that deals with entitlement here is this. You feel that because your own man, your own woman, your own person is a minister, the the, the functions of a minister carry with it appointment of certain people in specific places. Because your own person is there, they must appoint you because that office goes with a free car, it goes with free gas. That is so negative. How many of us have forgotten or cannot even forget that in Cameroon today, they will tell you if you are going to the southwest, for example, what they call the southwest, this job is not for a Bakwere man. It's for Bakwere. This other one is for Bayenge. And if that function is not occupied by a Bakwere man, they would rather send it to Yaoundé, let it go back to somebody else. That is expectation that should be dismissed because you are performing a function not for the Bakweri people, not for the Baiwa people, not for the Bafu people, but for the community. And so the idea of say, oh, Mr. Mosonga is in charge of the what do you call that his thing, Bangkok Commission, he employs everybody in Bakwere because he comes from Bakwere. The other one is this. 2 years ago, I made a census. I used to follow this very, very well. They used to have common entrance to professional schools in Cameroon. And one time I decided I took curiosity.
Concours. Concours.
Yes, yeah, to professional schools. I make an inventory. I really sat down and wrote. I saw the different schools. I tried to make an inventory. I discovered that 75% of the people who were admitted into these professional schools were Bamileke.
Yeah.
Is it because they became the greatest technicians in the world? No. Because they found their brother somewhere in the directorate in Yaoundé. Who will send you there? That's why you complain today about teachers not teaching English. They send you over American man to go to a Ekonoma Bamanda, which was designed to train teachers for English speaking schools. You go there, you come out, you are teaching bricklaying, carpentry in French because your countryman was there. They had to give you that expectation by virtue of being from their own area. You go there, you come out, whether you're teaching or not, the important thing is that you're having a salary. You're having the pension, you're having the salary from it. And so that type of nonsense in the future, Southern Cameroon government will stop. If it is being a principal, there must be a rule for being a principal. If it is that you have taught for 5 years and you have this second degree or whatever they call normal or second degree from the university, and you qualify to be a principal, and you are a Bakwere man, for example, you can still be a principal in Kambe. If you are an Kambe man and you need a qualification, you can be a principal in Victoria. This entitlement, I say, well, we're in Fako. Every principal should be a Fako man. Should stop. We are in Momo. Every office there should be handled by a Momo man and a Bingui man, a Batiwe man. Stop. Because if we go down there and see those fine prints, as I've given the example of the Southwest, when you find them, this nonsense of Northwest Southwest, and they're fighting and fighting, oh, one Southwest, they are not looking for something for the Southwest. They are looking for something that will profit them personally in their offices. So, if, for example, they went to Yaoundé and say, okay, this is for the Southwest, I'm saying this, you can quote me. And they sat down and say, okay, this is coming to the Southwest. Where will it go to? If it doesn't go to the Bakwere, it doesn't go to the Bayenge man, it doesn't go to the Ngute, to the Bakosi man, it should remain in Yaoundé. Those functions come with, with money. They come with entitlement. So, to level the playing field, somebody from Frukankang, somebody from the coastal area of Ndian who qualifies can hold a big office in Boya. Somebody in Boya who is so qualified or from Bamida also qualify, can handle an office in the battle, and so on and so forth. So entitlements will be regulated. Again, this is very negative entitlement. I gave you the example of the the BA government. He creates a Ministry of Finance, puts a Betty Faman there. They create a budgetary line, which gives money out to the Betty people. That's entitlement. They come to him as an entitlement, and he gives them the money for his own selfish idea of developing the account, developing the Betty, or
Who you
developing the
can
Santa, whatever it is. So those type of entitlements have to stop. And again, I've said from the beginning, you are a government worker. You're getting, sorry, as a public servant, you're pulling your salary from the state coffers. The state coffers don't belong to the party. The state coffers are not government coffers. The government is run by a particular party, a ruling party, be in London, wherever, be it the Labour Party, be it the United States, be it the Democrats or the Republicans. But the money comes, it is not for them. It's come, you save the state because the state is the one paying you, not the party. And so those are negative things that should be stopped. We hope we'll stop them when we get to Buya and stop them definitively by laying the level playing ground, by making rules that will be applicable to everybody. You are the minister today, tomorrow you will not be. Nobody should regret that you are no longer there just because when you were there, they took undue advantage.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Barrister. Really, that negative entitlement drives us straight to where we are to talk about the recommendations to the IG to encounter negative entitlement. What will we say? What are some of the recommendations that we can give to our IG, our interim government, this government that we are in it? Though you have already mentioned that we are interim, it is limited in some scope and capacity, but then we are there are lots of responsibilities still to be carried out. So, what do you think, or what are some of the recommendations that
yeah.
you can dish out? Thank you.
The first recommendation is when the interim government receives the draft money, they should use it for what it is intended and use it judiciously and render account. First responsibility. When I'm talking about the interim government, I'm not only looking at the federal government, I'm looking at the county governments, I'm looking at the LGA government. When you receive draft money, which a few southern Cameroonians abroad are drafting to free the homeland, you have to deliver an accounting. Deliver because what you are receiving is the civic responsibility of all of us, and what you deliver is entitlement. That is defending the homeland. And when you do that, you should be able to render account and make sure that what it was put in your hand, you use it to deliver nothing but the entitlement that that money was intended for. That's that is the biggest responsibility of the interim government. The interim government, when you talk about interim government, people always consider only the federal government, the cabinet, Dr. Sako, and so on. No, it starts from top right down to the LGAs, from the federal government to the counties and to the LGAs. We are all the interim government. So rendering accounts is very important. Number two, you ensure that people who are delivering the entitlement are the right people that are supposed to deliver that entitlement. For example, we cannot take draft money and give it to Ayabacho and the ADF. That is not entitlement. And the interim government has a duty to ensure that the draft money that they receive does not get into the wrong hands. They might have had a good intentions, thinking that these are people who are going to deliver, and you give it to them. You have missed the mark. We have to be very
Okay.
careful how we have to be very careful how we use that money to deliver the homeland, because we must deliver the homeland, and we don't have any other means other than what our people are struggling and raising.
Okay.
So
Thank you, sir.
because that's the limited role of the interim government. We don't have any other role. We don't have enforcement responsibility. We don't have anything because we are in a foreign land. We cannot be acting here as if we are also ruling this place. No, we only do what we have to do to free the homeland. So
Okay.
that is how limited and important the role of the interim government is all about.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you, Barrister. Let's cross over to Barrister Mbesha. 1 or 2 points because we have one more thing to tackle. Our time is taking us this
My
fast.
Rachel, I'll be running here. I'm running late, and I got to go.
Oh, oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go
Uh,
for the next 5 minutes,
let's
please.
just have no. It's just for us to do the patriotic segment. After Barrister says something, we have 3 minutes to handle the patriotic segment, and we are done.
Well, I don't have much to say other than saying that as of now, this IG, we don't have any entitlements that we're paying out. Well, I don't know
Yes.
where anybody is receiving any entitlements. But as our guideline, two guidelines, let us be as transparent as possible. One, and let us be prompt to react when we get into difficulties because we always have difficulties. We can remember a year ago when this coup plotting was taking its shape. It started from the idea that the president convened a meeting. I was trying to explain what happened to $135,000 draft purchase of special material that were contributed by other people. It didn't go through, but he had the duty to explain why the people's money got lost. That was a good initiative, but those who were involved thought that it was so bad. That's exactly how we should behave. If we get into difficulty due to no fault of ours, let us explain ourselves. So if we don't have non-applicable expectations, let them know what happened. If we're duped, let us understand that we're duped. If the money was not enough, let us know why it was not enough. We owe the people an explanation if they must draft. They may not be satisfied with the explanation, but we owe them an explanation. And reasonable people will understand the explanation we will give them. But if we let things lapse, they will lapse forever. They will cause suspicion. What people don't know, they fabricate their own explanations.
Thank you,
Again,
Barrister.
we have done our best. The MTT thing came. There was all allegations they are still going on today. Who acted promptly? Let us get an audit. It was done. Whether people like it or not, the audit is there. So that's what we are doing. Right now, I don't think we have anything called that we're getting out of it. We're sacrificing our time. If somebody does take anything, transport, let us say, well, we paid a transport to go here. That'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you, barristers. Thank you very much. Let me just go to the fifth segment, the last one, the patriotic segment. I will just read everything out because it is just for me to read and you give 1 or 2 statements and then we will round up. We are told that Amazonians are switching gears to our Know Your Ethics Code segment. The IG wants Amazonia to be informed patriots, patriots, when we have our nation and the Ethics Commission has decided to take the ethics code to the people by reading out a portion of it each time we meet. In the last two meetings, we read out the general rules for personal responsibility. Today, we will read Compliance with the Law, subtitled Criminal Offenses. So this is really something that is with you, part of the Ethics Commission Ethics Code. It goes like this: segment 2.1, criminal offense. It states all elected members and employees of the Federal Republic of Amazonia must comply with the law. Elected members and employees who commit offenses involving, in particular, prohibited drugs, fraud, seeking or accepting bribes will be subject to disciplinary actions and or associated penalties applied as a result of criminal proceedings. All elected members and employees are required to inform senior officials as soon as possible, as soon as they learn that they are the subject of criminal or possible criminal proceedings. No receipt of such information. Senior officers should decide whether the official can be retained on normal duty, removed or removed to alternative duties, or suspended from duty. Elected members and employees must not use their official positions or relationships established in the course of their duty inappropriately to influence or interfere with actions being compensated by internal investigations or external law enforcement authorities. So according to this program or this segment, you barristers should comment on this and say one or two things in reference to what I just read. And if you had it or you did not have it, I don't know if it came across the way it should come, but that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, that
Let
that
me do
concerns.
it. I thought I
Let
wanted
me
to do you first because you want to go.
because
I don't have much to say.
I'm
All I
running
want to
late.
say is simply this. All I wanted
Yeah,
to say,
let me.
I'm not
Maybe
saying much.
Let Barrister So say one or two and rush, and then
Okay.
you round up
Okay.
Barrister
Okay.
Besa. Thank you.
Well, I was going to say the first thing I want to say is that what you have just read concerns governance, the legal framework for governance, and you can stretch that to concern every Amazonian too. But for
Yeah.
now, it's for governance. And I want to add that for us to arrive at that, the legal department, the judiciary, would develop a system by law which everybody will report his assets before accepting certain posts of responsibility in the Amazonian government. That would be a legal requirement that if you come in and you have one house or two houses or three houses, we need to know so that when we by the time that you are getting way and above the houses you declared, we'll have to find out how you are getting that money. If it is not state money you are stealing, or if it is not bribery that you are taking, and whatever. It must be enforced, not like in La Republic where Article 6 of their constitution is not being enforced. In our system, like in other English systems, you must declare your assets before you take certain post of responsibility, either elected or appointed. I agree with all what you
Thank
have
you.
written. That's the legal framework that must be developed for the Amazonian future Amazonian government. But we must put an enforcement mechanism in place such that we don't get embarrassed, we're not taken by ambush. Somebody who has come in and is taking government money and making the government look bad, and also not allowing development to take place because you have stolen our money. We must control you. We must
Thank you,
put
sir.
a control mechanism where the judiciary can call for judicial inquiry on what you is perceived as what you have now owned, which you were not supposed to own, so that you give us an account of how you got there. And if you cannot justify, the government has a right for you to account for it, and they enforce it and take back what you have stolen from them. Can I run, my Rashid? Thank you very much for inviting me. Let me run.
Thank you very much, Barrister. I hope you are not penalized because these are some of the
No,
standards
I'm
that we
fine.
upholding.
I'm just short of time. I know Barrister Mbesa has a
Yes, sir.
program that is coming up,
It's,
so
it's
let me
also
run.
coming up. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being there again and all the best. Safe drive
Thank
to
you.
work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure again. Yeah. Barrister Mbesa, we are left here.
Well, uh, for want of time, this is what I will say. I've listened to all what you read there, and I can summarize it only in one way: that in Ambazonia, there will be laws in place that regulate everything, and nobody handling any office, elective or appointed, shall be above the law. The law will follow you no matter the position you hold, because there will be laws for everything that will guide us. That's the summary of it. As you take office in Amazonia, be sure the law will follow you if you go wrong, no matter the position you hold. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you. Thank you, Barrister. So thank you, Barrister Besha. It's a pleasure, my pleasure again to having worked with you this session. And fellow Amazonians, fellow viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Those on Facebook, thank you for the wonderful comments. Those on YouTube, thank you as well. Those on Homefront, we know that you are doing just what you are supposed to do. We really appreciate you for the perseverance, your resilience, your steadfastness for the homeland that you want to build. And that is why we are taking our time out here to put some of these things so that by the time we are there, even now, we should be building ourselves and keeping up the morals, the standards that we really want to have for Amazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and the technical crew, we thank you for the marvelous job behind the scene. Just continue, and out here we'll be doing our best. Have a pleasant weekend and hope to see you another time. Just stay tuned. Other programs are coming on, and I bet you, as usual, you will enjoy them and have the information and knowledge that we are supposed to share with one another. Thank you and stay blessed. Have a blessed weekend.
From the savannah to the Midland and the Atlantic, Ambazonia has risen to fall no more. Ambazonia rise.
Dear Ambazonians on the home front and diaspora,
Dear Ambazonia freedom fighters in the home front and in the diaspora,
the Ethics Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is coming out to alert you that it is becoming more and more evident that the former British Southern Cameroons, aka Ambazonians, will soon emerge as the newest nation in the world.
we are calling on all of us to start preparing to receive Ambazonia as parents prepare to receive their firstborn child. Malcolm X said, tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are already very educated, talented, and very rich in natural resources. Do all this guarantee a safe and prosperous Ambazonia? The answer is an emphatic no. Theodore Roosevelt said, to educate a person in the mind but not in morals is to educate a menace in society.
Ambazonians, it is time to start planning to restore our cultural and social values that characterize us as a people of good repute. Before our Republic to Cameroon invasion, we were respectful of each other, of the law, and of our culture. We earn our living through honest hard work, making clean money for ourselves.
Our values helped us to maximize the benefits of our natural resources as well as our human resources. Southern Cameroons were serene and clean, simply beautiful in spirit and in the physical. We all long for such a place to call home, and we can make it happen by God's grace.
Our local government areas and counties, are you preparing? Do you have an ethics commission in your local government areas, counties to serve as a moral compass for you? Do you have a copy of the